everyone, and welcome back to a time trial guide here in Gran Turismo 7. Look what car we're in now. We're in the amazing Alpine Vision Gran Turismo car here at Catalunya, and in brackets, I'll put the best, because it is the best layout. It's the one without the chicane. But on racing soft tyres, I'll put this as medium, because all you got to do really is carry the speed, and the car will just keep on gripping. Goal estimate around the 1 minute 30.1, I reckon. I can't see it coming down below the 30s, but hey, who knows? We may have an expert in these kind of cars come in and absolutely blow us all away. If you enjoy this, as always, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Stay in touch with all the latest content. But without further ado, we're going to jump straight into this one and straight into a lap then. So this is my fastest lap so far in terms of the time trial as we head down towards turn number 1. What we're looking for is on the left-hand side. We have the flag indicator. That is the perfect marker here. Now, if you are struggling with the braking, just brake at this moment in time. I brake just after it leaves my screen. It's very much a case of when I'm at it, I'm going to hit the brakes, because then it'll just be after due to reaction times and things like that. So we hit the brakes here. We drop to second gear. We release the brakes. We let the car roll a bit. Then we accelerate. And then we go through this corner, lift off. Now, I recommend that when you lift off to go to third gear, I delayed it a little bit because I was going for a fastest lap, or going for the fastest lap in the world, which it is right now. Now, as you go through this right-hander, we've got an accelerating marker there. So I've lifted all the way through here, and I'm looking for that orange painted barrier. Now, as you get to the center of your screen, you're guaranteed to make the corner. I'm pushing my luck a little bit here, but wait for it to get to the center of your screen, then accelerate out of the corner. And the car will just keep on gripping. The downforce of this car really starts to impact itself, and it just keeps on going around the corner absolutely fine. And the understeer does reduce. As we get to this right-hander, on the left-hand side, we've got the 50 board or the start of the bridge. Either of these are obviously the markers because they're in the exact same place. And this is your next brake marker. You're going to drop to second gear for this one, but as you go towards the corner, you point the car towards the corner, you release the brakes, let the car roll a little bit, and as the orange painted barrier there gets to the edge of your screen, you're going to start to accelerate. Now, you're not going to go 100%. What you really want to do here is go to 70 or 80%, allow the car to build up some speed, so allow the downforce to really start to have an impact, and then you go 100%. So that's what I'm going to do here. Notice that I was on that initially, now 100%, I use all of the circuit, and I head towards the right-hand side. Now, we're braking earlier than normal for this left-hander, mainly because this car's got so much acceleration. So we're braking at the end of the trees on the right-hand side, before the building that we normally use on this corner, okay? So as you get to the end of those trees, hit the brakes. Now, if you brake any later, you're going to understeer into this corner and really have to slow the car down. You really want to point the car towards the corner here. Notice how I trail braked through that corner there. On exit, I'm in first gear. You really want to maximize the revs in this car. You will suffer some power oversteer, so just be careful. As we approach this left-hander, once again, we're braking that little bit earlier than we normally do. So you're braking just before you get to the start of the curb on the right-hand side. And you're going to want to turn in earlier than you think for this corner as well. Mainly because if you turn in slightly late, this car starts to understeer. So I start to turn in, I clip the curb, and then instantly start accelerating. Now, with this car, it's actually wider than you realize. So look at this then. I'm really cutting the inside of this curb. Now, I'm staying on the red and white curbing, so it's not track limits. And I'm really wanting to straighten the car very quickly. And that means I won't suffer power obviously on the exit. And I can accelerate in second gear, really maximizing the revs and power in this car. As we approach this right-hander then, before you get to the end of the curb or the orange painted barrier on the left-hand side, use either of these as markers, you want to dab the brakes for this one and turn into the corner. Now, you really need to clip the curb on the inside. So I am going to hit the brakes and let the car roll in. I trail brake a little bit there to make sure I hit the curb. Then I can start to accelerate out. If you don't hit that curb, you're going to understeer off or have to really delay the throttle, which will cost you a lot of lap time. As we get towards the sharp left-hander then, the flag indicator on the right-hand side, which doesn't actually have a flag indicator on it, is your brake marker for this corner. Now, you can brake quite late for this one. The car does have some good brakes on this corner, particularly. On chase cam, you can actually use the portaloo there on the left-hand side if you prefer. You drop to first gear for this one, release the brakes, let the car roll a little bit to allow it to turn, then accelerate on exit. Be careful, power oversteer. It very much will happen there. You can use a lot of the circuits as well, as you will see in the VR lap. As we go into this right-hander, I don't use this as a marker, but just pointed out there on the left-hand side, we have an orange painted barrier. So literally, you've just cut the inside on the left, and then if you break in a straight line, when that orange painted barrier gets to the edge of your screen, you should make this corner absolutely fine. But I trail brake all the way through this corner. Notice I was on the brakes for quite a while there. I then go on the throttle, so I'm trying to build the speed up to use the downforce of this car. And that's the critical and key part of this car, using the downforce. So we've got the sausage curb and the orange painted barrier. These are your accelerating markers. So really, when the sausage curb gets to the edge of your screen, you really want to be accelerating 100% out of this corner. But just be careful of that. Notice there, I'm not 100%. This is a slower last sector than I really should have. So for this right-hander, notice there are tire marks that intersect with the red and white curbing. You really want to start turning in towards this corner before you get to them and aim towards the cones. It will understeer a little bit because you're accelerating, but just lift off a tiny bit as you go through this corner and you should be fine. Notice there, I cut so much of the inside. We also abuse the exit there in terms of staying just on the red and white curbing. And for this final corner, you have the pit lane indicator on the right side. That's your brake marker for this one. Turning earlier than you realize. Once again, you really need to clip these curbs. They will rotate the car a little bit, and that's exactly what I'm going to do for this corner. I try to maintain 120 if I can clip the curb. And notice I'm just carrying the speed. Not quite there, but the second I hit the curb, I start to accelerate out the corner, and we head towards the line. That's a 127.753. The rank 1 world record at the time. Now, I'm following my previous lap that I did here as on the pad lap on the controller. As we head in towards turn 1, the flag indicator on the left-hand side is our brake marker. So we're in second gear right now. Look at how we're trying to carry the speed here. Up to third gear, like I suggested with that lift off. Then towards the right-hander here. We just lift off, lift off, lift off. Orange paint barrier hits the center of your screen. Then you start to accelerate. Notice how the car starts to understeer out, then the downforce comes into play, and then you're absolutely fine. So the 50 board or the start of the bridge on the left-hand side is your brake marker. Notice how I stayed on the brakes a bit longer and the car started to understeer out of the corner. You do have to be careful of that. Brake earlier in this car and you should benefit far more from it. So as we go through this left-hander, it's really trying to start accelerate. There's the power oversteer I talked about on the lap that I just showed you as we head towards the left-hander. Just before we start the curb there, we brake to second gear. We need to clip the curb on the inside. We don't quite do it. A huge amount of oversteer there. We do catch it though on this pad lap. On the left-hand side, the orange paint barrier or the end of the curb. Again, clipping the curb. When we clip that curb, notice how the car rotated there. That's what you really want because then you can maximize the speed through the corner. The flag indicator on the right side is our brake marker as we drop to first gear, slowing the car down. Then the car roll a little bit, want to get straight there. We're just trying to judge the throttle accordingly. Clip the curb on the inside there and go into this right-hander. Try and abuse the speed here. And it's really trying to get on the throttle there to carry some speed. It's easy to control the slide on the controller, as we know, as we go through this right-hander. So that's why I'm being a bit more aggressive with the throttle. And I don't really use the controller very often. Again, aiming for 120. I don't quite hit it, but at least I've got a target there. That was my previous lap. Look how far wide I went there on the right side due to nearly losing it on the exit. So we go to the chase cam then. This is my fastest lap, of course. ABS is on weak for those interested. The flag indicator on the left-hand side. There it is. We're going to hit the brakes. Drop to second gear. Turn into this corner. We're going to accelerate a little bit. Then we're going to lift off this left-hander. Go up to third gear if you are struggling with oversteer there. And as we go to here, just lift off. Let the car do its own thing here. I'm getting on the throttle very early there. Just be careful of that. You can delay the throttle a little bit more and easily get the gold time. The start of the bridge on the left side is our brake marker. Second gear, in we go. We clip the curb on the inside and notice how tight we're keeping this. We're trying to accelerate out the corner. We're now 100% because the downforce plays a part here. We're going to hit the brakes at the end of those trees. Drop to first gear. Again, clip the curb on the inside. Start to accelerate. Be careful power oversteer on that exit. So, the start of the curb on the right side is our brake marker brake. Just before we get to that, really turn in early here. Really abuse the curb if you can. And then straighten up the car and then just power out of it. You abuse the revs there. Before the end of the curb there, we turn in, we're hitting the brakes as well. We clip the curb on the inside, and again, we're staying on the red and white curb in there to make sure our lap stays valid. The flag indicator is our next marker there. Hit the brakes, drop down to first gear, then release the brakes, and notice how the car instantly turns. So braking is critical in this. Yes, we need to carry the speed, but you need to make sure you don't over brake the car because that will really slow you down. So we've got a couple of accelerator markers there that we use. So the orange paint barrier, the sausage, for the tyres intersect the curb there. We continue on through here. Pit indicator on the right side is also our final marker. We do hit the brakes a little bit there going through the corner. Just trying to get down to 120. Any more speed than that and you will understeer off as well. And that's at 127.753. Now look at this for VR. This cockpit was amazing. I was very impressed when I got into this one. Once again, the flag indicator on the left hand side. There it is. We're going to hit the brakes and we're going to drop down to second gear. And then we're going to accelerate and then lift off a little bit up to third gear. Notice we do that on this lap as well. In towards the right and lift off. Let the car roll. There's the orange painted barrier. We start accelerating. And it gets in the center of the windscreen this time. We continue on then, start the bridge on the left hand side is our brake marker. We hit the brakes then, and I notice a bit of understeer there just because we outbroke ourselves a little bit. We managed to bring it back very nicely. We start to accelerate out this corner, get over towards the right hand side, and the end of the trees there is our brake marker. Drop to first gear. We really want to get this car turning and accelerate out of the corner. You may find the cockpit camera actually better in this car to reduce some of that power oversteer. Do give it a try. As we go into this left-hander then, we're looking to clip the curb and then accelerate straighten up as quick as we can. Look at that, beautiful. Very nice indeed. Before the end of the curb there, we turn in, we're hitting the brakes as well, trying to clip the curb. We clip the curb and we can accelerate through the corner. Absolutely not a problem. Our next marker then is going to be the flag indicator. Where is it? There it is. Hit the brakes then, drop to first gear, keeping out wide, really bringing it to the left-hand side and then using all the curb. Look how much of the track I used there. I really abused it there to try and maximize the straight line out of that corner. Through the right we go then. Look at that orange painted barrier. There we go. We continue on out of here and then we really need to turn in early then. We're going to abuse track limits there. Look how close we are to the cones there. That was insane. The final mark of that pit lane indicator. As we go through here, really using the curve there, accelerate out of the corner. There's my Ghost going flying towards the right-hand side there, which was a previous fastest lap, and that's 128.307. In terms of a lap on VR. So all those laps would have got you gold, and I did all these within the daily marathon. I think that was actually just above in terms of because I wanted a better lap. How do you get there? How do you take part then? So you go from the garage all the way up to sport mode in the top right-hand side on that opening menu. You're presented with this screen. So on the right-hand side, we have online time trials. We click into that, and these are the current 2 time trials with me being world record holder right now. Woo! Round of applause, folks. Right, on the top left then, you can see the gold, silver, and bronze times. So gold is 2 million, silver's 1, and bronze is 250. As long as you make those times by the end of the 2 weeks, you will get them. And obviously, those times will come down if anyone beats my time, so on and so forth. As you can see, you can watch the replays. You can load the ghosts in the same way. So that's my VR lap, if you're wondering. So the replay is available to you. And the TCR Tidgney is my controller lap for those wondering. That is it in terms of this time trial guide, though. So the critical thing to remember here, carry as much speed as you can through these corners. Don't overbrake the car, because down in the bottom end of the speed, if you hit the brakes too hard, the car will just start to understeer. Other than that, then, go out there and enjoy yourself in this car, because I think it's quite a fantastic car. Now, if you have enjoyed it, as always, give it a like, subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. And that's going to be it for me now, folks. Do check out my partners there, Fanatec GT Amiga and Coach Dave Academy. The Delta laps will be in the pinned comment if you want to follow those laps a little bit closer. 2 videos there to check out, including last week's time trial as well. A big thank you for watching as always, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.